Welcome to Novelist Spotlight. This is Mike Consul, your host. In addition to being the host of this podcast and interviewing novelists, I am a novelist myself. I have 3 published novels. My latest is titled Lolita Firestone, a supernatural novel, and it is set in Sedona, Arizona and Cairo, Egypt. My previous novel is titled Family Recipes, a novel about Italian culture, Catholic guilt, and the culinary crime of the century. And my first novel is named Hardwood, a novel about college basketball and other games young men play. And that story deals with issues ranging from depression and racism to sex, religion, and university politics. All 3 novels are listed in the episode notes. I hope you will buy them, I hope you will read them, and I hope you will thoroughly enjoy them. Now, on with our program. This is Mike Consul, your host. Thank you for listening. In the spotlight during this episode is Ali Hazelwood, the author of contemporary romantic comedy novels, telling stories about women in STEM and academia, STEM being science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Ali Hazelwood herself is a PhD in neuroscience and recently became a professor. In addition to studying the human mind, she is a lover of cats, Nutella, and side ponytails. And if you've ever seen a picture of Ali, you know that she's got a lustrous head of hair. So the side ponytail works very well for her. She's also currently learning how to crochet, creating, I guess, woven mosaics, just like the mosaics that you do when writing novels. But her favorite thing to do in the world is to explore traditional romance tropes and picture how they would play out in academic settings. Think in terms of rival scientists falling in love despite their better judgment. Think about there being only one cot in the laboratory, or so-called fake dating during faculty meetings. I'm not sure what that fake dating is, but Allie's here, so she's going to be able to answer all of that. The other thing about Ali is she brings a global perspective to that effort, in that she is originally from Italy, but has lived in Japan and Germany before moving to the United States, where she now resides. Ali Hazelwood, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me. I cannot wait to tell you everything about fake dating.
Well, I'll start at the top. You don't often find someone who is both an artist and a scientist, especially at a high level. Start with your interest in neuroscience, since all writing and other art forms emanate from the brain. What is the root of your interest in brain science?
I think I was always very interested in generally in individual differences, like why are certain things very easy for some people and very hard for other people. Like I remember wondering that kind of stuff since I was a kid. And so I think that's why I sort of got interested generally in I would like to say psychology and statistics. Like those were the 2 disciplines that I kind of started off with in my undergrad degree. I was kind of trying to figure out why do people do what they do, and why do some people do certain things and other people don't, basically. And then while I was doing my undergrad, I sort of realized, I took a neuroscience class, and I was like, oh, so much of people's behavior can be explained by, the brain and the central nervous system and how it interacts with other systems in the body. And that's kind of how I ended up doing a master's in neuroscience and then a PhD in neuroscience.
Well, what have you learned? Have you learned anything about how the brain functions that has helped you better understand the writing process or your sheer ability to write? Were there any revelations there?
It's very interesting. I feel like I have learned a lot about why I procrastinate so much while I write, and about why sometimes it's so hard to write. But I don't know that I have learned very much about like the actual concept of writing. my main area of interest when I was, still doing research. Now I'm kind of writing full time this year, but up until last year, what I was trying to figure out was I would look at people with traumatic brain injury and the kind of issues that they have following their brain injury. And a lot of times these issues are, about attention and executive functions. And as someone who also has issues with attentions and executive functions and who is very slow at doing her job and writing the words she's supposed to write every day, I'm like, yeah, I can tell why from a brain perspective.
Well, and with the brain training that you have in mind, I would go ahead and list off here for our listeners some of your titles: Love on the Brain, Love Theoretically. There's also The Love Hypothesis, Check and Mate, Below Zero. There's Stuck with You, and then also Loathe to Love, and Loathe with the E on the end, meaning hate to love. So when did you begin? To begin with, compound question here. When did you start writing, and why romantic comedies?
I actually started writing, I think I was in the last year of grad school. I think I was in my dissertation semester. So I was very busy at work, and I think I just needed something that wasn't really related with that. And I started writing fan fiction. Actually, I first wrote Star Trek fan fiction. Then I moved to Star Wars fan fiction, and that kind of evolved into me writing original things, and then finding an agent and getting published. And a lot of times I was just writing stuff that was set in academia or in science generally, just because it's the kind of environment that I know. So it's what made more sense, I think.
I get it. You make it sound so easy. I started writing. It was something a little different. I got myself an agent, and now here I am, a best-selling author. If only it worked that easily. What was your big hit novel? What was your number one seller? I remember reading about it, but the title escapes me.
It was The Love Hypothesis. It was my first book. I got really lucky. I think my book came out basically in the middle of the pandemic, but kind of a little bit after book talk. So the bookish part of TikTok had exploded. So there was, on the one hand, there was this, community of readers that was really eager to kind of uplift books that were happy and that had happy ending in a period that was just very, chaotic for a lot of people, me included. And then, my book came out in September 2021, The Love Hypothesis, and I got really lucky in the sense that it was a very right place, right time kind of situation.
So you found your channel. There's different authors will be in a particular genre, but they find a particular channel within that genre that works for them. In your case, it has to do with academia and women who are in the hard sciences, is what it sounds like to me. So how conscious a decision was this? And did you make this decision because you were already involved in that community and you understood it very well and you saw the possibilities there?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I didn't think, oh, this is going to be my thing, this is going to be the thing that brings me to fame, because that was not, it wasn't like, there wasn't any kind of calculation. It's not that I was like, I'm going to make this my brand. I just kind of was writing based on my experience and based on what seemed fun to me. I wrote my first book, and then when the book was acquired by my publisher, they contractually, I had to write 2 more romance novels set in academia. So that was, or in STEM. So that was, I had to, my second and third books had to be set in academia.
Was that contractual?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was happy to do that. I really like it. it's definitely the kind of environment that I feel I can play in the most. I can make jokes about it. I can make fun of it. I can kind of like spotlight how ridiculous certain things about academia are. Definitely, I enjoy that. But I'm also excited to write other things, like my fourth book, that hasn't been announced yet, is going to be about something else. And then I have a YA coming out that is set in the world of chess. So there's definitely, I'm very excited about writing about STEM, but I'm also excited about writing about other things.
So you'll be venturing into some other areas. They'll still be rom-com novels, is that right? But they'll be in some other venues?
Yeah, they will still be romance novels for sure. I think I feel like I have written everything that I have written so far has some connection to STEM, even if they're not quite like set in STEM academia. So there's that.
Gotcha. Now, you make a point of saying that you're a lover of cats. Well, the United States is full of cat lovers. The world's full of cat lovers. But what is it about cats that grab your attention or your passion?
I think I always liked cats, but I think it's more that I love my cats. And I love my cats so much that they make me love all cats. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I always liked cats, but I also liked dogs. I didn't have particular preferences. And then I never had a pet growing up. I just kind of like to watch videos or something. And then I got my first pet, Bernie, my oldest cat. He's 7 now. And I just kind of was like, these animals are the most genius, intelligent, brilliant, amazing, unique,
playful
beasts. Yes, they are little monsters, actually. And I love everything about that. And
so one of them at least sits in your lap while you're writing, I assume.
It's very weird in the sense that I have 3 cats right now, and either they all sit in my lap or I am completely ignored. So either there is like this gold rush where everyone wants to be on me and I can't even write, I can't even check my email because they're like literally making it impossible, or they ignore me for days.
Right.
Truly, yeah, amazing.
Now, Nutella, interesting. A lot of people love Nutella. What do you do with Nutella? Do you spread it on toast, or what's the vehicle for Nutella delivery?
See, I feel like Nutella doesn't need a vehicle, but I also know that this is a very unpopular opinion. I will eat Nutella by the spoonful and I don't need anything else. But what isn't better with Nutella on top? Like you could have a crepe, you could have bread, you could have
a banana,
even like
maybe.
Totally. Yes. Peanut butter and Nutella mixed together on something, fantastic. Ice cream, perfect. So I definitely think that you don't need a vehicle, but yeah, I also think that
I get it. I eat peanut butter with a spoon. A lot of the time. I mean, I'll spread it on toast and drizzle honey or on crackers, but I love just eating with a spoon too. It's good stuff. What about side ponytails? I mean, I kind of think that the side ponytail has to keep the hair out of the way when you're looking through an electron microscope or you're looking through some other laboratory instruments. Although I suppose if you tied it to the back, it would be even more out of the way. Is it just the look? Is it just kind of that? I've always liked that look on a woman, but what is that? What it is that it just is? You like the look?
I don't even remember writing that, to be honest. But like,
you still wear side ponytails?
I still, yeah, occasionally for sure. But I wonder if that was like an inside joke. I don't remember when I wrote that bio, but it was probably an inside joke that I wrote because my best friend would tease me that I dressed like anyway, that I wore my hair like it was, I don't know, the 70s. I don't even, was it the 80s that the side ponytails were big? I don't even remember.
I don't remember either. But
I think that it was probably, knowing myself, it was probably some kind of inside joke. I don't even remember writing it. But yes, I do like side ponytails, but I don't like side ponytails more than regular ponytails or braids or anything like that. It must have been like me being cheeky with my friend.
I think so. Yeah. Okay, there you go. So talk about crocheting. Why? I know that there's people who crochet and it's very relaxing and maybe meditative. Is that why you do it? Or are you producing any things like shawls that you like to wear? What's behind the crocheting?
The crocheting was my pandemic thing. And again, this really tells you how long ago I wrote that bio, because I was learning to crochet in January 2021, I think. That was like, it was my 2021 resolution that I would learn to do something, just some kind of craft. And I started crocheting and I've been crocheting ever since. I still do it. I actually, I still do it. And it was, I was never a craft.
But what do you get
person.
out of it? What do you get? Right. Is it relaxation? Does it teach you more? For instance, is it meditative where you feel like you got more focus or a way to decompress?
I feel like I am reclaiming myself who used to be the kind of person who wasn't good at crafts in a way. I'm like, oh, look, I'm an adult now and I can be good at these kind of things. But also, it's really nice to do something that, yes, is it's relaxing and fun. And at the end, you get some kind of product out of it. And you're like, oh my God, look, I have this thing that I can give to my friend. And I really enjoy that. So I guess that's what it is.
Well, we get to fake dating now. Fake dating during faculty meetings. What is fake dating in that circumstance?
So fake dating is a romance trope. So usually it's what happens when two people who either don't know each other very well, or maybe don't like each other, or maybe do like each other but don't know it, pretend to be in a relationship in front of other people. That's the romance trope. And
I see. So it's kind of like the son who's constantly badgered by the mother. When you're going to get a girlfriend, and then says, "Would you just pretend you're my girlfriend just for this wedding or this party, so that my mother isn't all over my back?"
Exactly. That is the typical scenario. Usually is they have to convince someone else, because either this person is badgering me, or just because I want to convince this person that I'm in a relationship so they leave me alone or something like that. That's typical. Yes.
But it's a great strategy also for a guy who wants the woman and sets her up in a way that it's just fake dating, thinking that I will win her over. When she spends time with me and sees what a swell guy I am, I'll win her over. But I mean, that's yet another strategy. And so often it seems that when the fake dating does happen, even if the guy doesn't have that strategy in mind, that they end up feeling feelings for each other, and something happens. So, I mean, that's a cliche, but you take that and you do your own take on it.
No, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I love the fake dating trope. Is pretty, like, you always know how it's going to end up, right? Like, the person who's fake dating someone else is going to fall in love with that someone else, and it's like, oh my God, now we go from fake dating to real dating. And it is a cliche, but I am here for the cliches of romance. So I love it in every way, shape, or form.
Yeah, you take the cliche and you remake it, or you turn it into a non-cliche. Maybe you refashion it in your own way. Let me ask you this: I want to follow your geographic movements. Italy to Japan to Germany to the United States. Let's start in Italy. My people come from Italy. My last name was shortened. It used to be Consilvio, and my mom's side name is Sacco, the Naples area, and then the mountains east of Rome, where my people are from. What region or province are you from?
My region is Trentino, Alto Adige. So I'm from the north. It's very, very close to Austria. So not close to Naples at all, sadly, because...
So you're more risotto than spaghetti.
Yeah, exactly. The risotto with mushrooms is by far it's our best export. I wouldn't know if it's our best export, but it's what we're kind of famous for. Definitely risotto is a big thing for us. And a lot of like stuff that you would think is German, like Spätzle, these like, they're kind of they're gnocchi, but yeah, and stuff like that. That's yeah.
And more fair-skinned and fair-haired Italians come from the north naturally.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
No.
I would say that, like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not particularly fair-skinned or fair-haired, but yeah, sometimes. Actually, it really depends, because Italy, yeah, I mean, there are also I forgot my Italian history, but there was some kind of occupation of Sicily at some point in history that made it so that I want to say Viking, but I might be making it up, but it made it so that there are, surprisingly a lot of blonde and blue-eyed people in Sicily as well. I remember reading somewhere, so I'm not sure.
Interesting. So then you go to Japan. What did you go to Japan for?
It was just an exchange for school. It was a 1-year exchange. I just kind of applied
during your education.
And I ended up there, which was really cool.
Same for Germany, or was that something else?
For Germany, I did part of my master's degree there. I went there to do research at one of the Max Plancks in Germany. They are these kind of like research institutes.
The Max Planck?
Yeah.
Yes, the famous physicist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he has a bunch of different institutes called named after him in Germany and the Netherlands, I think.
So then what brought you to the United States?
I just, I applied for a PhD here, and and I think I came here for that.
And that was where? What school did you go to?
I'd rather not say, just because it would be very easy if I said for people to figure out what my real name is. So I
see. So Hazelwood is not a married. It's not a married name. It's
no. Yeah. It's a pseudonym. Yeah. It's
okay, so you're doing an Elena Ferrante kind of. Although she was completely hidden, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so she wasn't just using a fake name. She was just wanted to be completely just invisible.
I think this is gonna be the one and only time someone compares me to Elena Ferrante, and I love this.
Don't you love that? Yes.
I love this.
If only you could sell as many books as she does. Maybe you will someday. But what an incredible! God, what an incredible career she has had. And I've read really 2 of her books. My wife has read probably 5 of her books. Very, very just great stuff.
Yeah, she's truly fantastic.
How did you settle on Ali Hazelwood? Is there any real story behind that?
Oh, well, the story behind Hazelwood is just that I was jogging at the cemetery, and I saw like a grave, and the last name was Hazelwood, and it was around the time that I was starting to think about publishing and writing original things, and I had to come up with some kind of name. And
you saw Hazelwood on a gravestone?
Yeah.
How about Ali?
Ali is a nickname for my full name. Yeah.
So interesting. I believe Paul McCartney was in a cemetery when he saw Eleanor Rigby on a gravestone, and then wrote the famous song by that name. I may be wrong on that, but I believe that's correct. So interesting.
I love that.
Yes, you and Paul McCartney walking through this cemetery looking for names. You weren't even looking for a name. You just happened upon it.
I was just joking. It's me, Paul McCartney, and Elena Ferrante living our best lives.
We're accumulating some real luminaries to associate with you.
Exactly.
So let's see. You also you are represented by an amazing literary agent. You call your literary agent amazing. What makes your literary agent amazing? Tell what are the characteristics of a great literary agent besides selling the book for you or books?
It's hard for me to say because I've only ever had one agent, but I can tell you that, aside from the fact that I really like my agent as a person and as what she wants to do, the way she sees her place in the industry, like she is very motivated to uplift certain voices that have been traditionally marginalized in publishing, which is something that just I really admire. I love her taste in books, like her clients, not me, her other clients. Every single book that she represented that I have read is amazing, and I'm like, wow, I can see why you chose to represent this writer. They're amazing. But also just generally, like from more of a business point of view, the reason why I think she's fantastic is that she really fights for her clients and to make it so that we have our best shot at seeing our work represented the way we want it to be represented, which can be, maybe sometimes you don't want to do a certain edit. Maybe sometimes you don't want to do, you don't want the cover to look a certain way. Maybe other times, I don't know. There are a bunch of different things that happen in the publishing process.
There's a whole bunch involved. Yeah, there's so much involved.
And she is really always there for us. She always makes us feel like we're her first priority. She's fantastic. I just think she's amazing. And again, I haven't had other agents, so I cannot tell whether she really is the best, but privately, I think she is the best.
Right. You're happy with her, and that's what counts. And she's been successful with you. So her name is Thao Li of the Sandra Dijkstra Literary Agency. I don't know if I pronounced that all correct.
I'm not even sure what it's pronounced.
Okay.
So let's say it's correct.
Okay, we'll go with that. You also say that when you're not at work, you like to binge watch shows with feline overlords, and you refer to your husband as slightly less feline. My slightly less feline husband. Talk about feline overlords. Are you talking about female overlords or cat-like overlords? Or
it's my 3 cats. They are definitely the bosses of my household.
So they're watching. You're binging with you.
Yeah, 100%.
And besides binging, you run. You're a runner.
Yeah.
And you eat candy. So do you run to offset the candy and the risotto? Maybe you need to burn those calories.
No, I just run.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not big on counting calories. So,
but the running is something that do you run just to stay in shape, or again, is it an opportunity for you to clear your head, or do your best ideas come while you're running?
I run because I sort of like it. It's just, I feel like when I'm running, I can't really think about too many other things because I am too devastated by what running does to my body. And and that's why I do that. It's I wouldn't say it's like a meditative thing, but it definitely helps.
Gives you a break. Yeah. Clears your head. So romance is so hot these days. You see it, it's very hot. I know as a genre for novels, it's hot, but also there are all these relationship shows like Married at First Sight, The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, The Vanderpump Rules, 90 Day Fiance, and Love is Blind. Do you watch any of those shows? Are you a watcher of those shows?
No, but not because I don't like them. I think just because I sort of like got out of the habit of like, I don't watch a lot of reality, mostly because I watch K-drama when I have time to watch stuff. So I have other things that I'm obsessed with, but I have watched a lot of realities in my life before the last couple of years. So
what are you obsessed with? You have other things you're obsessed with. What are you
I'm obsessed with K-drama. I think they are the best.
What is K-drama?
Korean dramas. So they're basically these mini-series usually of like 8 to 16 episodes.
Where do you access those?
On Netflix.
Are they on? Oh, they have on Netflix. Okay, interesting. I've never seen them.
They have some. Well, so if you watch one, then your recommended list on Netflix is literally going to be yeah, it's just going to be
it'll be filled up with them,
which is amazing. But there are other apps to watch, the ones that are not on Netflix, so for sure. So
are they dubbed in English? Are there subtitles, or are they dubbed in English? How's that work?
I watch them with subtitles just because I really like the voices of the actors, and I really like the way Korean sounds, even though I don't really
understand the language.
Understand it.
Yeah, but you like the sound of it.
Yeah, I really love. I don't know. I like to hear. I'm now obsessed with some of these actors and actresses, so I really want to like hear them emote, But I think maybe there are also subbed options. I'm not sure. Maybe there is voiceover too.
Yeah. Now, how romantic are you personally? You write about romance. Italians are known for passion. Italians are lovers, not fighters. Actually, you don't. I don't even know if you have a husband, because your name is. I thought Hazelwood was your husband's name, but
I do have a husband. Yeah,
you do. Okay, so how romantic do you feel like you are personally?
Not very.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I think the apotheosis of romance for me is just like being on the couch and watching a movie. I definitely
eating Nutella off a spoon.
True. Yeah, that is like literally. I like the little things. Like I like it that. To me, romance is the little things that a person does every day to make your life better. Like today, I was working all morning, and then I had a couple of podcasts to do. And my husband, like, I got out of my office, and my husband was like, by the way, there's pasta for you if you want some.
Oh,
and
that's nice.
That is really nice.
That's an act of service.
Exactly. That I really love. And but like, I'm not very big on like, here's some flowers or let's go on a date or stuff like that. I'm boring and lazy when it comes to that.
More practical stuff like food and comfort and
exactly,
home life and all. So I never did find out where can you tell us where you live in the United States? It doesn't have to be real specific, but what state or city?
It's fine. Right now I live in Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. Okay. Okay. Very good. So Italian is your first language, I'm assuming. So do you write in Italian and self-translate to English, or do you write in English?
No, I write in English.
You do? Okay.
It's been many years since I moved here. So,
and you've built a big vocabulary. You know English so well that you've got a big vocabulary. Are there times when you resort to Italian just because you're trying to work something out where you're not finding the right word in English, or do you always just stay with the English and you don't really have that issue? There's always the thesaurus as well if you really need to scour for the right word.
No, I definitely feel like sometimes it happens. Sometimes like there is something that I don't know how to express in English, and I'm like, I have no idea, and then I Google it, and it's a constant thing. This happens in daily life too. Like I'm talking with my husband and I'm trying to explain something to him, and like the English word just won't come, and I'm like, okay, whatever.
Does he speak Italian?
No.
Okay. All right. So that keeps you, riveted to the English.
Exactly.
Then.
Yeah.
So the Love Hypothesis was your first, and it was your big seller. I mean, it got you off to a rocket start. What was it about the Love Hypothesis that you think really appealed to readers? Do you have a sense for that?
I think really it was a timing thing. I think people just kind of wanted to read something that they knew would be happy and have a happy ending. And it was, a rough time for everyone. And that book kind of came out around that time. So I really think that's how it went.
Did you attend writers' conferences and expos, or was that never part of your practice?
I have been, after the book came out, I have been to a couple of festivals. I've been like to the LA Festival of Books. I have been in North Carolina. So like sometimes my publisher will send me places. I've also been abroad to expos in Brazil and in Mexico through my foreign publishers, which was amazing. I loved both countries so much. I've been to a few places. Yeah.
So when you are writing a book, your novel, whatever your latest novel is, which I know you're wrapping. It sounds like you're wrapping one up now. Is there a particular element of the writing that you like best, or that you feel is your greatest strength? For instance, is it dialogue? Is it creating characters? Is it just expository writing and just describing settings and people? What would you say to that?
I think I am. I don't know if I am good at it, but what I like writing the most are like these small moments of like the small moments in which nothing big happens, but you can see the relationship shift between two characters. And I think that's my favorite part of writing, at least.
Do you have a muse? What is your muse? Or is it your cats, or is it something else?
I would say my muse is just whatever I am into at a given time and whatever I'm interested in. Usually I started writing with fan fiction, and I definitely still do.
What kind of fan fiction? Now, you mentioned, I think, Star Wars, you said,
and Star Trek, yeah.
And Star Trek. Are you still doing that kind? Or
no.
So you have an interest in science. Of course, you're a scientist, so that makes sense. What kind of fan fiction are you writing now?
So, well, right now I don't write fan fiction just because I don't have time to do both things. But generally, I have this thing where I will watch something that I like, and I would want to take some elements of it and kind of like expand on them, or, twist them a little bit and write a story about it. So I think I just kind of have that, in my blood in a way. And so I would say that's my muse,
Okay. What is your state of mind when you're writing? Many people, when they sit, they get frustrated. Some of them get exhilarated. Hopefully anybody who writes gets exhilarated at some point. But do you approach it in a particular state of mind, or do you find yourself in a particular state of mind while you're in the middle of the writing process?
Say it's a roller coaster. There's lots of emotion there, and sometimes I'm really, really happy about what is happening in my writing, and sometimes I'm like, I cannot believe I have a publishing contract, this is crap. And other times I'm like, I would rather be watching TV, but I'm gonna get this done because I am on a contract. So it really depends. There are really good times, and then there are times where it's just a job. I would say it depends.
Right. Is there a living writer living or deceased, who has been a major influence on you? Could you name maybe a writer or two that you felt like really fed your interest and passion in writing and reading?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I would say every single big romance writer I was reading while growing up, or once I was growing up. I don't know, Sherry Thomas, Nalini Singh, Lisa Kleypas, Sarah McLean, I don't know, Jasmine Guillory, Helen Hoang, Emily Henry more recently, and then like even authors that are writing now and that started writing after me. I get so much inspiration from romance novels that are being written and that have been written. I feel like I have so many books that are formative for me. It's almost impossible to list all of them, just because I really just generally love romance as a genre.
I get it. And you take something from every book you read, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, if you could go back in time and meet the 25-year-old Ali Hazelwood, what would you tell her in terms of some kind of piece of advice or some statement you would make to your 25-year-old self to give her some assistance?
I would tell her, go on antidepressants. They will make your life so much better. Don't wait. Start
Oh, is that
now.
right? Were you having happiness problems at one point?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a struggle, a constant struggle. I'm also very anxious. So I just would tell her that getting medicated is the best thing that she can do. And she needs to do it like right now in this very moment. Yes.
Part of your interest in psychology and brain science, right? Trying to understand just trying to understand why some people are always up high and some people suffer from anxiety and melancholia, and so on. Nobody wants to take those. I can completely see what you're talking about. Nobody wants to take those drugs. They want to be happy on their own. But and then when people do take them, there's a lot of people who feel good, and then they decide, I feel so good, I don't need to take them anymore. And that's not a good idea either.
Yeah, I mean, I am a lifer. Like I'm not gonna go off my meds. But it's a chemical imbalance, and unfortunately, that's what I was talking about earlier about individual differences. Not everyone's brain is able to produce the type of chemicals that it needs to function properly, and some people need help and others don't.
It's a huge issue. I mean, it's a big problem. There's a lot of people who take antidepressants and really can't really function very well without them. This is a personal question, but do you mind saying what is working for you? What is is it Paxil? Is it Zoloft?
I started off with Zoloft, and I had to up it through the years. By now it's like, I think by now it's almost 5 years, but it has worked great for me, especially for my anxiety. For depression, I recently added Wellbutrin, and that has also been really, really good. I am actively happier, which is amazing. It's like I'm not just not anxious all the time and not crying all the time because I'm anxious. Now I'm also not sad, which is fantastic, So
you sound, and it's not just my talking to you right now, is I saw you do a live stream on Instagram or TikTok, and you were with a friend or a fellow writer, and the two of you were just laughing and having a good time. Anytime I've seen you, and I did a little bit of research on you and saw some YouTube videos, you're certainly a very happy person. So that's
definitely. It was a great idea for me to go on meds. So that's what I would tell 25-year-old me. No need to wait. I think I was in my late 20s when I started my meds, and that was it was a game changer. So I wish I had started way earlier.
Mm-hmm. So now that you have been writing for years and you've got this experience under your belt, how has your approach to writing changed at all? Do you approach writing any differently?
Yes, in the sense that I kind of know the ups and downs of it. And I know that, like, for example, one of the things that I sort of always knew, but now I have really internalized, is that my first draft is going to suck, and it's going to be full of problems, and it's going to be very frustrating. And I'm going to change my mind about what should happen over and over again. And that is something that I really needed to kind of, I needed to go through the process of writing 3, 4, 5 books before I could actually be like, okay, that's the way it is. And now I know that I don't have to worry if my first draft sucks, because I can edit it later. Like, now it's something I don't worry too much about, the fact that my first draft is crap,
Right. Well, and that's the way it is with everybody. That's the hardest thing for people to get around, because you don't feel good when it comes out badly. But when you've reached a point where you understand as part of the process that you're chiseling away at the copy, you're producing it, then you got to refine it. And it works out in the end, provided you've got the talent and the persistence.
Absolutely.
What is the biggest writing lesson you have learned? Or maybe I'll frame it a different way, and you can approach it either way you want. If you were to give an aspiring novelist, a piece of advice that maybe you had received or you've learned along the way, what piece of advice would you share?
Definitely build a solid support network of people who love you and respect you and that you love and respect. If they are writers, it's better because it means that they will understand what the industry is like, but there will be very hard times. Sometimes some of these hard times will be very public. Failing in publishing is always a very public thing. It's just having someone who is there for you, who understands and like unconditionally roots for you and loves you is so important. It's truly invaluable. That is what I found.
What's your support network like? I mean, obviously your husband's supportive, but beyond that, what can you kind of give us a sketch of what your support network consists of?
Of course, I have a group of friends from back when I was writing my fan fiction days that I consider my closest friends, and they're just there for me unconditionally, and they are amazing, and I love them. And then I also got really lucky because I can't tell everything to my friends, but publishing is its own industry. And sometimes I will tell them this thing that has happened and they won't quite understand why it's bad or why I feel bad about it. And so I'm also very lucky that I have, I think, a group of, traditionally published author friends, a lot of people who debuted with me that I like, they debuted with me with my same publisher in the same year. And we got to like become very good friends and kind of like, if there is something bad that happens, I can go to them. We have the group chat. I can go in the group chat and be like, this is happening and it's making me feel like this and that. What do you guys think? So I can ask for that. I got really, really lucky because I feel like I have been, I want to say, kind of mentored by certain people in the writing community. Some of them debuted a long time before me, like Christina Lauren. They are probably the biggest romance writers out there right now. And it's one author, but it's made by two people. And I got really lucky. I actually connected with one half of them very early because she has a PhD in neuroscience as well. So we kind of started talking because of that. And they have been just amazing when it comes to mentoring and like giving me advice. And they have all this experience of they've been publishing for a decade. So they know so many more things and I can like go to them and ask them whatever. And they're amazing. Another incredible mentor for me has been Adriana Herrera. She's also a writer and she's just, very kind. And I feel like I'm going to tear up. Like she is truly amazing. And Sarah McLean also has been there for me for advice. So basically what I'm saying is I got really lucky in the sense that I have really good friends. I have really good, a very good cohort. And then I was able to sort of insert myself into this network of people who are fantastic mentors.
Now, did your first novel, did you write that novel right off the bat, or did you have 2 or 3 failed attempts to write a novel and then finally you got the Love Hypothesis written?
So the Love Hypothesis was originally a fan fiction. So it's a reworked fan fiction. It was a Star Wars fan fiction that was kind of set in a different place and the characters were basically different. So that's so I would say that I wrote the fan fiction, and then when I started reworking it, I reworked it for months and months and months and months. It took a really long time. And then, that was the first book that we shopped to editors, me and my agent.
So you didn't write a novel before that never made it, that failed.
No,
so
I don't have a fail. No.
Lucky you.
It's a lot of luck. It's really just luck.
Well, and that, you worked hard at it and you've got the talent. So you have to give yourself some credit too. But you see, there's always some luck involved. You landed a great agent, as you say, an amazing agent.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So talk to us about your writing ritual. How do you write? Are you a morning? You get up early before the cats and your husband and you sit down. Okay, nobody can get up before the cats, but you get up and you write early. Are you a midday writer, an evening writer? And how much time do you spend at it? And do you have a writing room, or do you go to anywhere like Starbucks to do some writing or what have you?
I do have an office and I write in my office. I don't wake up early, but I mean, I wake up like at 7:30 to 8, kind of like naturally. And my husband also works from home sometimes. Sometimes he doesn't, but I usually, I make breakfast or coffee and then I go in my office, and then usually I have a word count or something that I need to get done, or a bunch of emails that I need to reply to. For example, I have to, I don't know, how publishing emails are like. It's there's a lot of is this cover okay, is this thing okay, usually I'll just try to write the number of words that I need to write to be able to make it for a specific deadline.
So an average per day would be roughly what?
It really changes a lot because it depends, but it can go from 500 to 3,000. It's it really depends on what I'm writing, on where I'm at in the deadline, on whether I've decided to take a month off of writing to kind of recharge, and so I have less time and I have to write more, or whether I've been writing for a while. It really depends on where I'm at in the writing process, I would say.
Do you commit to X amount of time each day though? Do you say 2 hours, 3 hours, 4?
Not really. I commit, like, it's the word count for me. Like I need to get that specific thing done. I have all those things that need to be done. And if I don't do them, I don't want to say I don't have dinner, but I go back to work after dinner. So usually it kind of becomes, it's basically I'm working on and off all day, depending on,
Sure. Do you listen to music or any other sounds while you're writing?
No,
you like silence.
Silence is the best. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So how do you expect, final question, how do you expect your writing to change as you get older? Do you have a sense for that? Are you expecting that your writing will take a little different tone or a different form, or maybe even venture into a different area of their genre as you get older?
I feel like I don't have exactly like a career plan or something like that. It's not that, I don't hope to write more literary stuff. Like I can see myself writing anything but romance novels, with the exception maybe of thrillers, because I really do like thrillers a lot. But even that, I'm not 100% positive that I would be able to write a thriller. So I would say, what I hope, I don't know if my writing and the way it reads will change, but I definitely hope that writing will become easier and easier, kind of like, a muscle that the more you train it, the more, the easier it is to use. So that's what I hope.
Sure. Yeah, we all do. That would be a wonderful thing. It seems like it usually doesn't work that way, but I'm sure it does for some people. You've already had that kind of that evolution where you've at least accepted, look, the first draft is going to be, kind of an atrocity, but I'm going to make it, great with it by continuing to give it, feed it, take runs at it. I'm not out of questions yet. I did want to ask why did you use a pseudonym anyway? Why not use your real name? Is it complicated? Were you feeling like it was complicated? Because a lot of Italian names can be polysyllabic.
It's because I would rather keep my private life and just my writing life separate. Like, it's when you write something, people get opinions about you, and I don't know. I like the idea that I can kind of close the door on that. If Ali Hazelwood exists, but I can just go back and be someone else, and no one can, Google my real name and know who I am.
Right. You start drawing any conclusions about you?
I also just generally I had several publications out already under my real name, so that seemed like I don't know that I would want people who Google my real name looking for publications that I've written in the field of neuroscience to find my romance novels. I like the idea that they're separate.
Sure. So is the other stuff you've written has been nonfiction? It was science-based articles and books, or just articles?
No, not books, just peer-reviewed articles.
Okay. So final question. You have a novel coming out, a new one that you're working on. I don't think it's been announced yet, but what can you tell us about it?
Well, so I actually have 2 novels coming out this year. One is called Loathe, Theoretically, and it's coming out on June 13th. And it's a romance novel set in the world of physics, academia. And
that's on Amazon right now. I see it on Amazon. Loathe, Theoretically.
Yeah. It's
is it a pre-order deal?
I think so. Yeah. I think you can pre-order it from a bunch of places, but it won't be out until June. And then I have another book called Checkmate that is going to be out in November. And it's my first YA book. So, young adult. And
interesting. So that you're very productive. That's 2 books in a single year.
Well, to be fair, I actually Checkmate, my YA was written a while ago. So I wouldn't say
it off. You've shorted up, dusted it off, and brought it to life.
I was writing it as my first book was waiting to be published. So, it's one of those things where it looks like I wrote, a ton of books in very little time. But the truth is that, publishing times kind of lag a little bit. And there are, sometimes years between the moment where you write a book and the moment where the book comes out.
I get it. Yes. And so for our listeners, in the notes, episode notes, you will find the URL to Ali Hazelwood's website where you can learn more about Ali. Ali, you're a very fun person, very fun interview. Thank you so much for coming on the program and taking the time to talk with me.
No, thank you for having me.